In this video, we do a clustering analysis. It'll be similar to what we did in Excel. We'll get an additional plot that's kind of cool, but it's showing you how you do clustering analysis. We're going to do a k-means clustering analysis. There's other types of clustering. There's hierarchical, which is kind of nice, but we'll do what we did in Excel. The first thing we have to do is bring in the data from Excel. So the data that we've got is where this was the original data set, where we had all these transactions. We had customer ID, and we had the type of shoe that they purchased and how much they spent. And from this data, we built a pivot table, and this is the pivot table data that we've got. So I'm going to grab this. This is going to be our data that we're going to use. And I've got to put it in its own worksheet. So I'm not grabbing the grand total, and I'm going to go to another worksheet that I'm calling our cluster input. And I'm putting in the data, and then I'm also going to replace any blanks with a 0. So now these are zeros. So this is just a summary of the total dollars spent by this customer in athletic wear, casual dress, sandal, and work. And I'm going to try to group these customers. That's the purpose, is to group the customers. So now that I've got this, now I'm going to go to R, and I'm going to bring in that data, and I'm going to call it my cluster data. That's going to be the data frame that will hold it within R, and it's the command is Excel get range header equals true. And if I would look at it, we could just look at maybe the first several lines of it. You don't have to call it my cluster data. That's pretty long. You can shorten it up and you won't have to worry about typing it wrong. But that's it. And if you notice what we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. The first column is really, I don't want to use that as data. I want that just to be the row names. So I've got some data ways over here. And look what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new one called my data. So I'm going to copy this command, my data, and all it's going to do is only use columns 2 through 5. So it's only going to use this one, this one, this one. And it's shortening from my cluster data to my data. So now if I look at but I also want to get the customer ID as an identifier. Even though it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's not, even if it was something else, this would work. So I'm also going to grab the row names for my data and assign that from the first column of the original data set. And now when you look at this, so it's this row 1 are now the identifiers. The identifiers. Let me go through and do something slightly different. I'm going to replace these. Watch. So now this is more text. I'm going to redo the data. So I'm going to start at the beginning. I'm going to grab this data. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to create a much smaller data set. Or I'm just going to use those columns. And then I'm going to use the row names, or put some row names out there that are from the original data set. Now if you look at you can see that the row name is now the customer. So that's all I did, just to show you how we could get the data into R and actually have a row name that is unique so it gives the row name, but it's not data. Thanks.